Hello, everyone. I'm Alat Taha. My guest tonight is a stand-up comic and impressionist who is making a name and a fool of himself in the Bay Area. He has performed at famous comedy clubs such as The Punchline and The Purple Onion, and he's also part of a rising wave of Arab American comedians who use the stage to share their unique points of views on all things American and not so American. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Nick Hanna.
Alat, thanks for having me, brother. How you doing?
Always a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
I gotta know, first and foremost, what is your favorite impression to do?
I have two. First would be, of course, Al Pacino, because he's old. He doesn't even talk anymore. Does jazz hands. Talks about things. Red flowers. I saw him. What was that movie with Adam Sandler he did recently where he dresses up as the sister or something like that?
No idea.
Well, anyways, I don't like Adam's newer stuff, but Al Pacino was in that, and he does a scene called Dunkachino, where it's Dunkin' Donuts. It's just hilarious. I love his voice. So that's one.
Right.
And also, the ever famous Christopher Walken, because he's just, the way he talks is so amazing, really.
Two classics. I'd love Christopher Walken reading me a bedtime story. What made you want to start a career in stand-up?
You know, it's interesting that you asked that. I've always loved comedy. I grew up watching comedy. Like, my dad would pop in old, like, Charlie Chaplin tapes, and then my brothers would watch Saturday Night Live. So I had everything from the early 1900s all the way to, like, modern comedy. So it just kind of resonated with me.
Very cool. It's well known that the comedy business is very unforgiving and very hard to break in. So what keeps you going?
You know, I think I have a knack for it. It just comes natural to me, and I have a talent for doing crazy, kooky voices. I'm a stubborn person. I'm not really scared, and I want anything I want in life, I go out and I get it. So I figure I might as well try. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of pain, but it's worth it in the end.
You are a silly guy, too.
Yeah, I'm a crazy character.
You've been in the company of some of the Bay Area's best comedians.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your favorite? Who'd you get to work with that you really liked?
Well, there's one guy, Big Al Gonzalez. He's on the come up. He's been doing it for like 10 years, 15 years, something like that. He recently moved to LA last year, and I'm actually performing with him on January 18th at the Punchline, so he's a local.
Right.
And also, well, this next guy I've not worked with, but he's a legend, and I got to meet him briefly, but Robin Williams.
Wow.
Shook his hand. He's a fuzzy little man. He's like this tall, real nice guy. There was a lot of people. This was last year at Comedy Day in the park. Real nice fellow, but I wish I could have worked with him. But again, I got to meet him, and he's from San Francisco. So.
One day, you're very young. You could.
So
you're Arab American,
yes,
Palestinian background. How much does your Arabic background factor into your comedy?
A lot, but I think when I first started, it was the majority of my act. But as I branched out, you know, it's just more arsenal to pull from. Depends on the crowd, what I'm feeling, but there's always jokes about my family. Speaking
of the crowd, when you have a diverse audience and you do Arabic jokes, who maybe like 1 out of 100 people might understand what you're talking about, how does that work? Do you just 2 people laugh in the audience, or what happens? Well,
that's the thing. I make sure to do things that are very relatable. I don't want to do something that only a certain audience will get. That's why I tend to stay away these days from just Middle Eastern humor, depending on who's in the crowd. But if I do something, I want to make it so relatable that everybody in the room can understand. That's why a lot of impressions work too, because I'll be like, oh, this is my mom, and this is how she talks, or this is my dad, and this is what he does. So people can relate to that.
Right.
So.
Very cool. What's next for Nick Hanna?
Well,
what are you doing
next? I'm scared and excited at the same time. I'm graduating next week.
Congratulations.
Thanks, sir. So that's going to be the big thing. That what's next? I hope to land a job here in the city, and if I don't, I'm just getting a car and headed out to LA. I have an old aunt where I can live with, and then commute to Hollywood every day. And I want to try out for the Groundlings. I want to maybe find an agent, some representation. And although there's a lot of competition out there, there's a lot more opportunity than here.
Very
so
nice.
It's to LA, Hollywood or bust, man.
Best of luck to you. And you have some shows coming up.
Yeah.
2 shows. One is free, I understand.
One is a free show. If all my fellow Beckons can make it to Ron Campisi's class on the 17th at like 1 p.m., that's next Monday. I'll be doing, like 12 sets, so several takes. If you guys want to come check that out. And the following day at the Punchline, again with Big Al Gonzalez, the show will start 8 p.m. That's the Tuesday the 18th at 8 p.m. It's $15 to get in, and you can get in 2 for 1, so 2 people for $15.
Very nice.
Yeah, man.
And you're going to get me in for free.
Of course.
Because I have you on the show.
You're my buddy.
Excellent. Well, this has been Nick Hanna.
Thank you, guys.
Presenting. Please go check him out. He's a very funny guy. Thank you. He's a very funny guy. And
thank you for having
one of my
me.
good friends. Excellent comedian. So check him out. 17th and 18th.
Yes.
17th is free. 18th, not so free. So thank you very much. This has been Alat Taha. And I'll see you guys next week. Thank you very much.